Hey everybody, what the flick? Next to last penultimate episode of Flash Season 1, Rogue Air, Bibbs, Francis, Alonso. Well, we at least get a big clash of superhero team villain this week.
You know, it was at the end of the episode, and then just the Reverse Flash shows up, and then the Flash is like, yeah, well, I brought all of my political allies, like in The Simpsons and The Snowman, and then I thought, oh crap, what a bastard of a cliffhanger they're just going to leave us on, and I'd almost turned it off. And then they actually started fighting. I'm like, oh shit, are we doing this?
I know.
Oh fuck.
I thought next episode was going to be like fight. Like, no, it's now. Okay.
I was not expecting him, especially, not spoiler alert, here, expecting him to overcome him as well. Well, we know it's not going to happen. We know he's going to find a way back. But at the end of the episode, I was expecting him to maybe win. Yeah. Leave you with a cliffhanger with the Flash maybe being hurt, but no.
It was very unexpected.
Yeah.
It was very unexpected.
And I thought if the Flash was going to have help, that maybe all of those rando supervillains that just got let out by Captain Cold might have shown up, but no.
At least Grodd just jumps on some guy.
So all right, so the big move here is extraordinary rendition. They're taking the people out of the meta prison with no toilets and moving them to Monster Island or wherever.
Yeah, which has toilets. We've seen the Supermax prison on Lian Yu in Arrow. It looks much nicer.
Okay, good deal.
It looks much nicer.
They
Captain
actually moved them
Boomerang
out.
and Deathstroke are already there.
Yeah.
They'll have friends.
The whole reason of the move was so that they could go and clean all the waste away and move them back in.
Gotta muck out those stalls. Anyway, but that, of course, goes spectacularly wrong because they trusted Captain Cold, which is dumb, Flash.
It goes spectacularly wrong, but it goes very well with the theme of the episode, which we talk about all the time, and Daredevil's morality. And now we have got Barry, who actually thought, which was great, how they compared him to Arrow. And they were like, you're not like Arrow, because Arrow is a superhero, right? I don't watch him as much, but I think his line is a little faded. Like, he will do what needs to be done to
He's
get the job
a
done.
much darker, more morally gray kind of hero.
So this episode was all about that, because Barry then started to question himself. He's like, damn, I shouldn't have trusted them. Well, no shit, you don't trust the criminal to try and base your plan.
Dumb.
But it was interesting.
Now, do we think that Iris is going to immediately marry Eddie just to fuck with the timeline?
I'm worried that's what they're pushing it into. I'm worried that, like, this is all like Eddie Eobard Thawne's plan to make sure he gets born by forcing Eddie and Iris to marry each other and to fornicate as quickly as humanly possible.
But doesn't the Iris West Allen whatever byline appear in the timeline that he's from, or not?
I guess I don't. She could still remarry.
True, that's
like that's still okay.
Yeah, she could always be widowed.
I don't know what the hell his game is. What do you want from me? I'm not from the future. It's like his whole plan has been really roundabout this entire series.
Let's talk about From the Future, by the way. I love how Cisco finds all this future tech that he can't understand and doesn't know how it works, but somehow can tell you that it's going to start in 36 hours and figures out a way how to turn the little one into to power something else. I'm like, did you understand or did you not understand?
He can understand that the thing that he doesn't understand is powering up the generator, and he can. I'm willing to buy that he can tell how fast the generator is going to be powered. It's like, I don't know how this battery works, but I know it's charging this thing, and I know how that works.
I guess, but he then gets it to charge something else, which clearly seems to me that he can access whatever it's doing.
Well, I was sitting there the whole time thinking, okay, so
I need a red flashing LED. That's what I need.
Well, like that chair that Thawne was on the entire time. It was like charging him up and making him super fast, and he keeps complaining, I'm not as fast as the Reverse Flash. Sit on the chair.
There you go.
Sit on the goddamn chair.
I posed the same questions as well when I was watching it, but as I mentioned to Bibbs in the last clip, is that we did get Cisco make a gold gun out of pencils and whatever he had one time in the space of a minute. So you just kind of bypass it. You're like,
he's
okay.
MacGruber.
Well, he improvises. That's what he does.
Yeah. You didn't improvise the best name, though. I know it's from the comics, but Golden Glider doesn't describe her very well in this current incarnation.
Well, it's the kind of name you come up with when you have a crush.
Do you think she's actually into him? Like, seriously? Because they're pushing it really hard. I think they want us to think that it's an actual possibility.
I think she's a minx. She's just toying with his nerd emotions.
Yeah. We need to talk about the scene where Barry goes to Captain Cold, and Captain Cold immediately puts on Cold as ice.
Yeah.
Bless you, Captain Cold, for embracing it.
At least it wasn't Ice Ice Baby. I guess.
Nice. I think that's there's no class to that.
That'd been awesome.
Whatsoever.
Wait, what was Flash's karaoke song? It was some other like.
Oh no,
they did
Grease Lightning.
They
did Summer Lovin'.
Yeah, Summer Lovin'.
Oh, that's right. They didn't do Grease Lightning. We were mad about that. Yeah.
Huge mistake. But Captain Cold, I love Wentworth Miller on this show, and his whole bit about who doesn't love a thank you. That's a great line that I'm going to use from now on. But it's weird because I feel like this whole episode, of course he's going to betray them, but we also know that he's going to be starring on DC's Legends of Tomorrow series next season. And so I think maybe what they were trying to play off of is the idea that we know he's going to maybe not become a good guy, but at least work on the good guy's side. And so maybe this wasn't a foregone conclusion, but of course it was.
And there was a point in it where he kind of re-emphasize the point that I'm thinking when I'm watching Captain Cold. He hasn't really got that much superheroes other than superpowers other than the fact that he's got a gun and he's kind of cocky and he's like, you guys can never catch me. And I was thinking that's kind of right. They never catch him, and he's probably one of the easiest villains to catch when you think about it.
Yeah.
Out of everyone else that he faces. Out of everyone he faces.
Well, he still has that. They didn't mention it, but he still has that backup thing where if I don't call into this number or whatever every day, the Flash's identity gets released.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He's always got that
All
in
right,
his
do
back
we
pocket.
buy that you can go to a computer and erase somebody from everything?
No, from
Selena
everything.
Kyle thought it was possible in Batman.
But in Batman, they said it was bullshit. I think you could erase him from the police computers.
Sure, but
You
from
can
the
do-
FBI
from
and
the
everything
FBI?
else, I'll allow it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
So-
we're letting it. We're willing to buy the cold gun, but we're not willing to buy that.
So what do we expect
enough.
from the finale then? Because this is what I'm interested about. I'm thinking we're going to have a massive showdown. Is Grodd going to come in and save his dad? Because my money's on that right now.
Is the Reverse Flash going to be this show's only big bad forever, or can we polish him off and find other interesting things for the Flash to do?
Again, the Flash has a great rogues gallery.
does.
There's still a lot of people we haven't introduced yet. I think there's a lot of potential to move beyond it. I think there's a lot of potential to get smaller characters and make them bigger. Grodd could become the big bad for an entire season very easily.
I guess my question is Tom Cavanaugh signed for another season?
I would
Do
hope.
we know?
I would
I
hope.
thought he was great this season. I'm really
No, I
looking
just
forward
would like to see them mix it up a little, but if it's going to be more him, then it'll be more
Well, I
him.
mean, the other thing is he could also, because there have been multiple Professor Zooms, Reverse Flashes in the DC canon, he could maybe turn Eddie into the next one. It wouldn't be necessarily following the comics, but they don't have to be that beholden to it.
Sure.
So that would be okay. There's room to grow. I think what we're looking at in the next episode, since we got the big fight out of the way, I think we're going to end up, obviously we're going to have a big confrontation about Barry's mom. I think we're going to have to go back in time to try to stop it, or maybe at least come to terms with what's going on. And I think what's going to happen is, I think, this is my prediction, based on nothing except what I think would be good drama, I think Barry's going to change something and come back to the present and find out himself in an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
That in which things are dramatically different. Cisco is Vibe. Firestorm isn't Firestorm. He's other guy.
Spock has a goatee.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the best cliffhanger that I can think of. I hope they're smarter than me and come up with something even better. But that's kind of where I'm leaning here, because they've toyed with it a lot.
And again, it's funny because there's been all this conversation lately about, there was that big piece that was on somebody's blog and they got picked up by Wired about how the Avengers is ruining popcorn movies because we know that nothing too major is going to happen to any of the major characters who then have to come back in their own movies. I'm wondering if the whole onslaught of spin-off side show coming, with that DC show coming on.
DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow with the Arrow. I mean, this Supergirl's not this universe, right?
No, there's potential for that to cross over, but it seems unlikely.
Anyway, it just kind of feels like now that we know that it's going to be part of this larger puzzle of things, we know it's not going to get too bananas.
Yeah,
right?
I would put my money on there being a pretty dramatic death, I would say. I think that's usually what happens in these shows. I can see something, like you said, something happening in the timeline, and maybe someone like
now Barry's dad is dead
maybe
now,
Barry's dad is dead instead. That's what I think could happen.
Or Detective West.
Gut-wrenching.
I will say I completely disagree with that philosophy that this whole kind of franchising is ruining movies, because seriously, did it ruin comics?
No, because
for decades, when you realize that Superman probably isn't going to die or for long, comics were fine. Does it ruin TV shows? Do you honestly think in every episode of 24 that Jack Bauer could die by the end of the episode? No, of course not.
No, but
you're working within a genre.
Sure,
there's certain expectations.
I know. And obviously with TV it's different, and unless you're making 8 episodes of True Detective, in which case
anything goes. But if in a serialized narrative that is something that you're stuck with,
sure.
I think that's based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what you're looking at.
No, fair enough. All right, so next week, the finale, and we will see where they wrap all this up, and we will too. See you then.